So our guest today is Josh. If you want to go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us what you do and where you live.
Sure. My name's Josh Barron. I live in London, and along with my wife, I started a accessible clothing brand for medical patients. What that is clothing that has access points along critical paths in your body to allow treatment without having to remove your clothing and be more comfortable, warm, and more confident in yourself during treatment.
So how did you get your job?
How did I get my? Well, I started the company with my wife, so involuntarily I got it. I got it through my wife. Really, we started the company together, and we just started it last year. So we've been trading for 1 year now, or technically we started about 18 months ago, and we've been trading for about 1 year now, online only, and trying to get our name out there and grow. Learning the world of e-commerce is a tricky one for sure.
So how did you even get the idea for it?
So it comes from a personal story. So prior to COVID, March 2020, I was in property development and investment. My wife was in marketing for a newspaper, but my wife was pregnant. And then unfortunately, just as COVID hit, she was diagnosed with breast cancer. So through my wife's own struggles and own pain and own difficulty, we realized that she was struggling like everybody else. Because it was COVID, she had to go to hospital by herself, do her treatments by herself, scans by herself. It was a very lonely environment for her, and one that made her have to rely basically all on herself and a few nurses that were there on rotation because of COVID, people getting sick and not having enough staff. So over FaceTime, my wife's like, you have to get me something. Like, I'm sitting here freezing. With her treatment, she had to wear a cold cap on her head to try and preserve her hair, which made her even colder. So she was wrapped up in blankets and towels. They weren't allowed to have hot water bottles because of health and safety. And I tried to find something online that was functional and fashionable, and we couldn't find anything. So together we decided, let's do, mostly my wife really was, let's do something about it. So that's how we created it. We started looking into various options in the marketplace that didn't really fit the bill for a 29-year-old woman going through cancer, having weekly treatment twice a week. So we had to create something fashionable, functional, and warm, comfortable, and something that sort of gives people back their dignity during treatment, which is a lot they lose. They're sort of seen as a patient and not as a person, and that's a real focus for us. That we would like to focus on the person and not the patient.
So as of right now, how are you getting the word out? Is it more B2B or B2C? Like, what does that look like?
So in terms of sales, it's mostly B2C. We are focusing our efforts. Originally, it was completely organic for the first, I'd say, 8-9 months of our sales. It was completely organic with Alexia promoting the product on social media via Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. She managed to build up a following of about 20,000 people on TikTok, about 4,000 people on Instagram, and growing. After then, about 8-9 months, we sort of saturated the organic growth, and we started to look at advert through Meta, which we started in about, when was it, February time, sort of advertising via Facebook and Instagram.
So have most of your sales been in the UK or a lot like in the US, or what does that breakdown look like for you?
So at the moment, our breakdown, I would say, is about 75% in the UK, about 10% US, 5% Canada, and about 5% Europe as well. The issue we have in Europe is because our lovely country decided to exit the European Union, people in the EU are reluctant to pay the import tariffs that they have subject onto them when buying from the UK, whereas places like America, Canada, Australia have a much higher tariff level before taxes have had to be paid. So because our demographic is mainly the UK, we've been trying to target people in that area, but subsequently you do get the overlap of the US market too.
So what, as of right now, what does a typical day look like for you?
I don't have a typical day. With my wife and 2 children and the business, there's never a typical day. You never know when you wake up. You never know what's going to happen. But in general, I would say it's more my wife focusing on the marketing and the networking, and myself working on sort of the back end of the website, manufacturing, and the financial element of the company. As a startup and as people just, learning as we go on, it's really at the moment day-to-day learning new things, picking up new things, and trying to grow as we go.
Cool. So, by the way, what do you think? Right now, you are solving many problems, and what do you think? What sort of problems you are going to solve in next 6 months?
The next 6 months. So at the moment, our line of clothing is fairly restricted in terms of what we have available at the moment. We have a crew neck sweatshirt, and we have a hooded sweatshirt too. What we found was that a couple of issues. One, people wanted a lighter collection, which we are bringing out. So a lighter sort of t-shirt, athleisure product, and also a fully accessible product whereby when you are having treatment, you can take the sweatshirt off completely, which is a completely unique product that we have found that no one else does. And we've designed to create access for people that are in wheelchairs, people that have mobility issues, so they can comfortably have treatment and be comfortable himself.
Okay, so my question is roundabout. How do you plan on growing your business?
On growing our business, I think it's trying to target wider audiences. At the moment, because my wife's story and network and understanding is really in the cancer community, especially in the breast cancer community, it's 100%. Our heart lies in that community. We want to help that community the best we can. But we know there are so many other communities out there: people with Crohn's disease, people with mobility issues, people with MS, people having to go through dialysis, people having to go blood transfusions, that are all having the same issues and the same struggles. So it's about trying to reach that audience and reach those people to make them aware of the product. It's a really tricky one when it comes to marketing and it comes to advertising, because there is no button to press on Meta saying dialysis or cancer treatment. So it's really trying to understand what people need, where people are looking for solutions, and trying to address those and attribute that to those people. I know the people we work with now always, and everybody else says, let Meta's algorithm work, test the market, run a few tests and see how the algorithm works. So we did that originally, and we did find really good results, but then it gets saturated, and then you have to find on to a new audience, a new target audience. And that's really the hard bit of growing the company.
Okay, so I believe you have one more challenge maybe than others. First, you need to make awareness. You are going to spread awareness, and then people are going to know, okay, so this is something important for us. This is gonna facilitate us. Maybe people are not even thinking about it to buy something like that.
Yeah.
So
there's for sure an education element to our product, and that really comes in the content of our marketing, and being able to capture people's attention and show them exactly what our product does within the first couple of seconds of our marketing strategy. And that's also a tricky one, to create the right content for our audience. You have to be very aware and very knowledgeable and very understanding of what people are going through. We're not selling sunglasses. We're not selling an iPhone case. We're selling something that really means something and really can help people. But we have to be careful in our approach to that. We can't have an aggressive approach to it, because people are going through enough as they are going through treatment, and we have to be aware and understanding of that too.
Yeah, obviously, in your case, education is a must thing, and I believe technology can help you a lot in this case. Like in today's life, it can help you a lot in spreading the education, spreading the awareness, why to use this, and what's it's important. Even because people are most picture oriented or video oriented, their tendency is more towards the videos and the pictures. So probably you might have to make some awareness videos, some awareness images, sort of like this. So this will be an addition into your marketing team, like marketing team will
Yeah.
have to first do some awareness campaign, then they will be going for some other aspects for sure. So okay, I believe this business really needs technology, and you are already, yeah, you already have a website, a good website. So uh, what do you think, what are your pain points, like still have, let's say you still have these pain points in terms of technology?
Our website is an interesting one. So we actually were originally on Wix, and what we found was it was sufficient for when we were growing organically. But the second we tried to start marketing and paid advertising on Meta, the analytics and the feedback from Wix was not good enough. It wasn't quick enough, and it wasn't accurate enough at all. So we moved our website onto Shopify, and we got a much better understanding of our audience, a much better understanding of the channels and the funnels of where people are going to and where we're losing people and what people are clicking on. So that was one pain point we were for sure experiencing, which we overcame. Another pain point in terms of technology, I have to think. Right now it's just myself and my wife as the team. That is our company. So we do bits of everything. So we are integrating different parts of AI and trying to grow our awareness of our company in terms of, I know, simple things like using ChatGPT to help us write blogs and to give us marketing ideas and strategies, using AI to adapt our images to create more awareness around our campaigns, I don't know, by changing the images slightly, using things like Stable Diffusion, Mid-Journey. So it is fun having that element of creativity for sure.
Yeah, Mid-Journey is helping a lot.
Yeah,
yeah,
it's not easy. It's not easy to take an existing photo and edit it via these websites. It's much easier to type in whatever you want if you're creating something. But it's getting there. It's getting there slowly for sure.
Okay. So, by the way, again, I was talking about the Mid-Journey. So, don't you think so? Like, you can use it on permanent basis. And by the way, are you using subscriptions of Mid-Journey?
So I actually just recently subscribed to Mid-Journey because when it first came out, I was using it for free, and then as it started growing, I started realizing it's just impossible to use it for free. It doesn't effectively, the servers are constantly busy and overloaded, so you had to pay for it. So I have a paid subscription, but I wouldn't say used it enough to warrant the fee just yet.
Okay, so moving ahead, let me know, what do you owe to your success?
I would say it's the personal journey that myself and my wife have gone on these past 3 years, and wanting to help others that are going through the same difficulty. Because we know how lonely it is and how hard it is on families and friends, as well as the person going through treatment. And we want people to be able to help each other and be able to feel comfortable, dignified, and strong during treatment. In our clothing, we've created a tagline inside with words of encouragement to the people that are wearing our clothes, just to make sure that they know they're in the community, they know they're loved, they know people are with them during their treatment, because it's a really lonely process that people have to go through. It's one of the most difficult things people have to go. You know, it's 1 in 2 people now that will get cancer. It's a very scary fact. So the fact, I'm sure people that will be listening to this and people that will be going through their own diagnosis and their own treatment. And we just want people to be aware that there are products out there that can make you feel more as a person and make you feel more as yourself, and not just another patient on your doctor's list or another person in the ward. You have your own personality, and you don't lose that during treatment, which a lot of people do, unfortunately. And it's just, I guess it's how would I say it? It's a survival strategy of just trying to get through, but I think we feel like our clothing really does help people mentally. And there's a real link between your mental health and your physical health in terms of how you react to treatment. There's a lot of studies out there. And there's actually one called Enclosed Cognition, which shows a relationship between how you dress and the relationship between how you react to treatment. So it's a real interesting topic we came across when when starting this business.
You mentioned starting this business, and I think that you mentioned earlier that you came from the corporate world. So, what was that jump like for you? You have a good corporate job, and now you jump to do this. Like, what did that look like? Was it scary? Like, what made you feel confident to make that leap?
It's a funny one because everything sort of lined up for it. Because COVID started, my boss and I, both our wives were pregnant, so we actually closed the office early. We closed it in beginning of late February, beginning of March. So everyone thought we were crazy and that we were pessimists, and we thought, but we were ahead of it. So we started that. I was working from home, and then as my wife's treatment started, I didn't have time to work. I was a full-time carer. I had to be by her side the whole time. So I was put on. In the UK, we had something called furlough, whereas in the US, I think you had, what did you guys have where the government subsidized?
We had furlough. We had like basically checks that we got, like
Yeah,
COVID checks or whatever.
yeah, yeah. So we had the furlough scheme where we were paid a certain amount a month. So I was put on furlough, a mutually agreed furlough. So I had the time to look after my wife. At the end of the day, it was sort of, I was already not working. So it was less scary to take that jump to create our company to go forward. Would I have done it whilst I was working? I think I still would have done it, but I wouldn't have fully committed into it. I think I would have been, it'd been a sort of a side hustle almost, rather than being a fully committed business.
Can you describe what that's like being fully committed? Because I think that so many of our listeners are, people like myself, people who are like afraid to make that jump. Like, what are some of those benefits to being like fully invested as opposed to like quote unquote side hustle?
It's not easy. It's a scary one. You're not getting your monthly paycheck. You're not getting that income. Your cash flows coming in. It's a real scary time because you're not. When you start a business, and I think online it's very glorified that you start a business and you start making money straight away, and you see all these crazy tech valuations, and you see people in their headlines making millions and billions, and that's a select few of people. The rest of us are working and churning out day to day and not earning anything, and you're really relying on your strength and persistence to get that company going. So it's, I mean, on one hand, you're in control of your own destiny, you're in control of your own time. You can figure out your working hours, and you work in an environment you may want to work in, instead of in the UK. A lot of people go in and out via the tube, so you'd have to go on the tube for an hour or so. But it's not all sunshine. It's a hard graft, and you have to be willing to take that commitment and risk, to knowing that you might not earn anything for the next couple of years, but at the back end there might be a nice surprise.
So where do you see things going if we're about to have this conversation in, let's just say, 2 or 3 years? Like, where do you see things going with your company?
So we have projected a year-on-year growth for sure. We are definitely in the middle of, should we be raising money, and if we should be raising money, how do we go about that? Is that via equity? Is that via crowdfunding? Is that via debt? Is that via a loan? And each one of those sort of dictates where our path will go, because it's either, are we going to try and grow the business to sell it, or are we going to try and grow the business to keep it within the family and keep it as a sort of a family business that can sustain our lifestyle and grow to where we want it to, but still retain all the equity and still retain the control over it. I think there are pluses and minuses to both, for sure, especially in this market now. Very, very inflated interest rates, or not really inflated, probably about where they should be in real terms. But we definitely envision Porto Bello growing to become a household name within the medical community, for sure, definitely.
That's awesome. And just to wrap, what advice do you have to somebody who's thinking about being an entrepreneur, that has this concept, this idea that you had, for example, and wants to do something? What advice do you have somebody that wants to get started?
Just try it. Especially if you're young. When I say young, I'm 29, 30, 31. That's where my journey started for this business. And if I didn't try it, I would never have known. And I think that really is a key. Just try it. Just start. You don't have to go full guns blazing, invest your whole life savings into it, and stop your whole life for what you want to do. You can ease into it slowly. Nothing's going to happen overnight, but I would say just start is the key thing. Just start.
Sounds great. Well, Josh, thank you so much for your time. We're
Thank
rooting
you.
for Porto Bello and wishing you the best luck. And hopefully in a few years, we chat. And Porto Bello was a multi-million-dollar company. So thank you
Sounds
so much
good.
for your time.
Thank you very much. It was great to meet you guys.
Thank you. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you. You too. Bye.